Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast reviewing games in the Game Pass collection. Bring you three unique perspectives and varying skill range. I am the Scuba Steve of this episode, Andrew. With me, the one who's definitely sleeping with the fishes, Keith.
Hello.
And the one whose 8 year of marriage has felt like 15 minutes underwater, Liz.
Hey guys.
This week, we had a listener request. I do believe it was David who recommended we play this. But this week, we played Subnautica 2 by Unknown Worlds Entertainment. Subnautica 2 is a sequel to Subnautica 1. The end. Subnautica 2, yes, is a sequel of Subnautica 1. I don't know where this plays with Below Zero, the offshoot, but Subnautica 2 is continuing at least majority of the story of Subnautica 1. Maybe? I don't know. Anyway, this game is in game preview, so it is not fully completed, but there's a good chunk here. So we're like, let's give this a try. We had a ton of fun with this, and we've had some people request we play it, so it's like, all right, we'll cover this. But yeah, you are once again playing a survivor on an alien planet that is mostly covered in water. You don't quite know what's going on. People are missing and dying, and you're trying to figure out how to get off this planet. You were trying to go to a different planet, and you are not on that planet, so you try to figure out what's happening. But yeah, going around of whether or not this is a game or a pass, I will start this off, of course. For me, yeah, this was a game. If you like Subnautica 1, you'll love this game. That's the kind of the short end of it. If you did not like Subnautica 1, I don't think this one's going to sway you. It to me, this felt very much like Subnautica, whether it be good or bad. There wasn't really anything too drastic where I'm like, oh, well, this is a sequel. But it's still, like, if you love Subnautica, you're going to love this game. It's obviously missing still a lot. If you saw in the trailer, like they have a cinematic trailer, some things that are coming out, like they're bringing back the submarine. There's definitely some new other crafts, bigger monsters you're going to be finding. What's here, though, is a good chunk. On Time to Beat, it says 15 hours. But I feel like, Liz, we've already sunk in like 20 hours. We've put in quite a bit of time. We've been playing this for the past 2 weeks.
It just feels like that because you were playing with me. But I don't think we really have.
I don't know. But yeah, so this is a game for me.
So, I think traditionally, if I recall, I would go before Liz. It's been some time, I think.
Yeah.
So I had to remember the order. I didn't want to cut you off. So Andrew kind of summarized it. I didn't go back and listen or check to confirm, but I'm pretty
did.
Okay. I'm pretty confident that I did not care for Subnautica 1. I think there was probably aspects of it I'd bet you, because this was probably, in the height of my days of this, that I probably gave Subnautica a game just not for me, if I were to guess. Because it
kind of not in that phrase.
Or some very vague pass. Yeah, some very vague pass. Because I'm going to say probably the same. I can see why this is a game that people who like this genre really like Subnautica as a series. And just the same as you put out any new Real Forza Horizon game in front of me and I'm going to fall in love with it. It's this more the same thing that you love. So there's nothing wrong with this game. I can't really pick and point and say this is what's wrong with it. I don't care for the style. I do actually have a few complaints about it, and I think from what I've seen, pretty common complaints overall about the current state of the game. But yeah, I am gonna go with a pass on this. I'm just gonna make it a clear one this time.
I'm going to give it a game, but I'm also kind of curious because I didn't play this solo. I just played multiplayer with Andrew. I wonder if I would give it a game if I was by myself. But overall, I'm going to give it a game.
Do you think you would?
I don't know, because when it comes to the oxygen level, I am such a pansy. And so also you find things that I don't. So like all of a sudden you're like, oh, we can be around heat, and you like found that little thing that gives us that ability. And it's like, I miss everything, I understand with like, I could do it by the compass, be like, I'm gonna go south first, I'm gonna go southeast. But how much would I miss, that would be important.
Probably a lot.
But I also feel like this game just seemed the same to me. I was like, I feel like I've already played this. I didn't really feel any newness, I guess. So I'm gonna give it a game. It was fun to play. Multiplayer.
So I'd venture to bet, especially if I were to play with Andrew, because one of my biggest gripes about this genre of games is really just that I actually sort of enjoy the first hour to 2 hours where there's a lot of progression. I'm getting a lot of blueprints. I'm building things out. And then once I start to have to like base building and have to just put this broader picture together of it, I'm like, I don't like this anymore. This is too in depth, and I'm kind of out on it.
This is literally what I say to Liz, where I'm like, Keith always kind of complains about how he can't find things or do something, and it's like, but you never invite me to join you. Or Liz. This is why I generally, what I love about these survival crafter games is Liz does all the building, I do all the
I
gathering.
want us to want to stay home and cook some food
Yep.
and build some rooms.
Oh, see, then maybe I shouldn't play with you. Maybe I do need to play with Liz on this because I don't like the building and stuff. That's where I'm like, I don't want to worry about the storage and the management and all that. I want to go out and just find stuff. To me, that's like playing the game. So I want to be out swimming around and doing that stuff.
Well, once we built what is it called? The first kind of submersible.
The tadpole.
The tadpole.
Oh, yeah.
Once we got that, I was way more happy going out and adventuring where I had that oxygen source right there. But yeah, I really just liked staying at the base, and because like we're getting more like more furniture that you can build and all that kind of stuff. And I love making windows in this game. Like that's my thing.
This is a game just because of
Yeah,
Windows.
just because the windows. Because when it's bright out and you get that sunlight, yeah.
Yeah, so getting into the story of Subnautica, as I kind of said at the beginning, I guess I didn't quite explain the gameplay. So this is a first-person survival crafting game where you are playing a survivor, kind of lone survivor. This is co-op. You can have up to 3 other friends with you, but you are a survivor of a crashed ship on a planet. You're on your way to, I guess, like some sort of resort paradise type of nice planet, but you woke up and you're like, nope, the stars aren't right. The planet's covered in water. This isn't where I'm supposed to be. So you don't know anything about what is going on. You do have an AI computer kind of giving you some information as to what happened. But you know you're on an alien planet and you're trying to figure out where are the other survivors of the ship that you're on. And the story progresses essentially of just finding diary logs. Every once in a while, your AI robot will say, hey, there's a new beacon. Go to the location. You find some more diaries, kind of start to piece together what the story is. But as I said, this is in preview, so it is an incomplete story. But I got to say, with the story of Subnautica 2, I found it better. In the first one, it very much was you are by yourself. And once again, still doing diary logs. So I think it is kind of funny. They did not change their avenue of storytelling, which is kind of surprising. Well, I should say at least so far. In Below Zero, they actually added at least one NPC. So there actually was another human person with you, and you're kind of interacting with them, from what I remember. But in this one, yeah, it's still just, once again, a lot of just diary to text. But to me, I felt like this was more fed of like, to me, I felt like the information was being fed to me better than it was in the first one. And the first one, I felt like it was super heavy of, you really got to search and find. In this one, I felt like every 10, 15 minutes, the computer's going, hey, here's a new location. Go check it out. Get more story. Get more blueprints.
So was the first story the same as the second? Where I have to admit, with the first Subnautica and this one, the way that you just start listening to the story and you're like in the middle of something, I cannot pay attention to the story. And it's so weird because in real everyday life, I can have a conversation and do things. But for some reason, this game, I block out the story. And I have no idea why. But in this one, so you land on the wrong planet, and there's this, like a sea tree that's poisoning everything, and it turns people in like fertilizer. Is that the same as the first one?
No, but, well, okay. It's kind
Did
of
I get
funny.
the story right?
A little, you got, well, parts of it. Yeah, you
Ish.
said a couple.
Spoiler.
Oh, is
I
it
mean,
a
I'm
spoiler?
like
it's
like
not.
2.5 hours into the game.
Oh.
I am not very far at all.
They tell you pretty early, like if you're getting hallucinations and it's telling you to go to the tree, don't go to the tree. They tell you that within like the first 30 minutes. So it's not really much of a
well,
spoiler.
the very first ability you find in the open world where you can consume things, like she has this whole long dialogue about how she's
How long did it take you to figure that out? It took me and Liz like 2 hours. We were like, we are starving. How do we eat food? And then I finally figured out, like, I'm supposed to touch this tree.
So like I said, I probably played a sum total of like 2.5 to 3 hours of the game. Like I didn't even get into base building, but truthfully, by the time I got into base building, I was going to be done with this game anyways. I just don't like building bases, but it was. I mean, it was probably about halfway through there. I feel like I figured it out fairly quickly, mostly just because I was like, I kept trying to go back to the base, so the welcome center. I'm like, what does it want me to do in the welcome center? It took me a long time to figure out that I needed to put a battery in it. Really simple. It wasn't like a hard thing to figure out. It was one of those
Bunch
really
of cords
simple...
everywhere. Wasn't too much of a hint.
Yeah, I just kept trying back to it. I was like, what? I don't know. I'll come back to this. So, anyways, yeah, I at least once I finally went over to the tree, I saw the thing at the top pretty quickly, and I remembered that like that's where you got your first ability early on. I was like, wait, I know that that thing looks like. Go to that thing. So I at least once I got there, I figured it out pretty quickly.
Anytime I kept seeing it, I'm like, that looks ominous. I think it's gonna attack me. I don't want to go near it. I don't
Well,
want to go
because
near it.
there was a big angry fish guard in it when I was there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to jump ahead too far in gameplay, but that truthfully is one of my biggest gripes, and I'm sure like the first one, it gets better as you get vehicles and stuff. But
Oh, we'll
the
get into it because there's a
fish
little
are...
controversy with it.
Well, like I said, I alluded to that too with the fact that it's like I think it's a pretty common gripe that I have with this game. But yeah, the fish were a big gripe for me. I'll just say that for now.
In the first one, couldn't you turn off hunger and thirst?
Yeah, there's a creative mode, which there is a creative mode in this one as
Yeah.
well.
But can you do that with the story or no?
Not
thought-
yet.
No, I thought it said it did, but maybe I didn't read it enough because I almost did that.
Maybe.
Because I feel like it just gets so tedious. Our characters are so hungry and thirsty all the time, and it's such an
They're
easy
so whiny.
thing to go get fish for the water and the food.
Which I do. I
Except
gather that
for-
stuff.
I gather it too. Excuse you. But like where we are now, it's harder to come by the fish. So maybe that's why they do it. But for me, it's just like it's too much.
It's very tasky.
Yeah, because you shouldn't be that hungry that much. You know, you don't need to eat that many fish a day.
Yeah. I mean, I am kind of with you, Liz. It is just an added element where it never scared me. It was always just a thing to do. And I agree. I do feel like it is a bit heavy as to how quick you get thirsty and hungry. And it's like, okay. So I wouldn't mind it turning it down a little bit, but it is just kind of like, okay, I got to pause everything. Let me find a fish to cook. So I do agree with that. But you going to the story, though, Liz, you were pretty right. I do like that the story is like, that's the first thing I was thinking. I'm like, man, this is like exactly the same as the first story. I'm like, this is kind of lazy. Like, you crashed on a water planet again. Oh no, where is everyone? I'm like, oh no, there's a virus. It's like, man, this is exactly what's going on in the first one. But
I did get a chuckle out of one of the dialogues that I found where one person's like talking, I think, about trying to follow the AI robot. And the way they responded, they're something about like, we're a cult. We're not trying to sound like salespeople or something like that. And like it just made me laugh because they were like, yeah, we're a cult. Like we're trying to be evil.
Which now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like there was it's been a while since I played the first one, but I felt like the first one was majority just text. This is majority of it. It's all audio. In fact, I don't think
Which actually is surprising for game preview.
Yeah.
Because that's, and that's a whole different topic, but where this is being in the game preview, I actually am surprised to see there's as much voice acting as there is in it.
Yeah. But I will say, like, the story actually does get more interesting. Like, me and Liz are at a point where it's like, oh, no, they actually explain more what's going on in the overall universe and kind of what's happening with humanity. And it's like, oh, okay, like, this is actually interesting. So I, so far, am liking this story. It does take a bit of time because, like I said, it felt almost exactly the same as the first. But then, like, I don't know where it's going now. I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. And I don't know how far the content goes. I'm assuming me and Liz are, like, at the end. From what I've seen of, like, what is available for a map, me and Liz have explored all those areas. So I think we are pretty much right at the end for the story, where it's at now. And I don't know, I'm interested in the story.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I didn't get super far. That I think I got maybe like 4 or 5 different of the different black boxes. So I was like, I got to the bio lab and I had unlocked that. I think I was just
Okay, yeah,
starting
you're
to
pretty
get
good. You're pretty
Yeah,
good.
and I think I was just it was just at the cusp of getting into base building, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, as far as the story goes, I was interested in the dialogue. Like I didn't mind it, but I think part of it, like
Could
Liz
you
was
follow it
saying,
along?
well, so I was gonna kind of piggyback on what Liz was saying about she was saying she finds it hard to pay attention. I think part of my issue is, and it's a weird, in some games I would probably complain about this, in this game I'd complain about it the other way, but because everything continues on with gameplay at all times, including if you scan something, if you interact with something, if you're hungry, it just all talks at the same time. Maybe
Yeah.
that's a game preview thing, but Gil said you're always hungry, you're always thirsty, and so you're trying to listen to this dialogue of your character's like, ugh, it's been 5 whole seconds since I've had a giant jug of water. Please consume more. And you're like, what did they? There's the story. I don't know what they said. That's I don't know if it's great, but yeah, that's where I struggle to follow along with it at times.
So I think it's impressive. So Keith, did you learn it? Did you hear about like the controversy with this game beforehand? Like not even just the like how this game even came to be.
That no, I don't know. I was gonna say, as far as when you say controversy, I don't know if like I've seen a bunch of people complaining about the fact that you can't have it, like there's no combat in the game.
No. So this game is being published by Crafton, not Crafton Studios, but Crafton, which they originally had a stipulation with the studio Unknown Worlds that hey, if you come out with this game at a certain time, like if it hits game preview and it sells well, everyone gets a $250 million bonus. Like it's split among like all the developers, $250 million, and they were on track of doing it. And Crafton had said, "What? No, 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 no. We fired the They fired the CEO and said we're taking over. The game's not good enough. You guys got to keep working on it. You can't release it in preview." So they purposely stopped them from releasing this game. But luckily, the CEO took him to court. Court ruled him in favor and reestablished the CEO. This game came out now in preview, which is very solid. Me and Liz had a couple bugs. I don't know if you did, but we had a couple base building bugs. Is generally what it was, but overall, like nothing game breaking. So it's a very solid game preview. But now it's been announced that Crafton is being forced now to pay the $250 million to the developers because this game sold very well already in preview.
They tried to bricks and minifig them.
Yeah, that's also why I wanted to bring this up. I was like, this is just like the bricks and minifig controversy going on right now.
I need like that joke, but yeah,
Liz doesn't get it.
and
My head.
and honestly, like I think there's a fight there, but here's where I don't want to say I'm gonna be in favor of the big evil studio here,
Whoa.
but I will say, where I was reading something, they were talking about the game preview, and they were talking about this game being in preview for 4 to 5 years. Now, yeah, it sells like hotcakes because it is a game that people wanted more of. It was a pretty hot niche game, but I think it sold really well, the first one, and it has a big following. So yeah, you put out even just a workable half-baked version of it. Yeah, you can just buy time to work on this forever and tell me 5 years it's going to sit in preview. That I think is bullcrap. So that's
Yeah.
them trying to cash in on this 250 million, but kind of doing it in a crappy way because they just know people will buy it. And I don't think that's due diligent enough to say we're putting out a good product and we're going to do 5 more years of development. If anything, just say we're going to call it a live service game at that point. I
Yeah.
just think it's disingenuous to say that they got this out in time, and that's where I kind of go in favor of the studio on not wanting to pay out the bonus on that premise.
I hope
I'm glad the developers got paid, like good for them, but I think they kind of schemed their way through that one.
I hope you're wrong. But I
Maybe.
mean, like, but you might be right though, because so this is their current roadmap, and they don't. If you notice, there's no dates. They just basically say next patch will have this things. The patch after that will have this things, and then in the future we'll have these things. But there's no dates, so you actually might be right. But Liz, you'll be happy to say.
Screenshot I sent. I'm gonna pull it up now, but I think what I sent in Discord actually was like a quote from the studio.
nice.
I could
But
be
Liz,
wrong.
they at least planned on the one thing you complained about. Liz wished there was a sprint when she was base building. She was like, "Oh my
yeah.
gosh, I gotta walk so slow."
Because of the bug, I had to make this super long corridor, and it was a pain. I also we wanted to move the base, and you can't you'd have to like disassemble everything. So I just made a really long corridor, and it took forever.
Oh, I spoke too soon. It says it's expected to last up to 3 years. So maybe, still maybe shorter, but I still think that 3 years is a long time to call it a game preview or early access. That's my biggest gripe with it. But at the same token, what's here is not a half-baked game. Like
Yeah.
this could be called a demo at minimum. Like that's I think my biggest issue to it is it's just I don't like the semantics behind it. But that said, there's a lot of gameplay here.
Man, that kind of makes me sad because I remember this was our complaint too when we played 33 Immortals. We're like, this is a great game, but if it takes too long to be hit complete, like the community's gonna be dead. Granted,
They'll already have
30
made all their money because everyone paid for it now in early access, and then they can like I don't like it. I don't like it.
It's one thing I do hate about early access stuff. I mean, the difference is 33 Immortals requires to have active members to play the game. This, I guess, is a single player game. I guess you literally could play this and then put it down, and then 3 years later be like, oh, it's now complete. I'll pick it up again. I don't know. I get that, but because it is kind of from what is here, it does feel just like Subnautica 1. Like it actually, there's new fishes, but they all still kind of do the same thing. Like there's not really new gadgets. You're still like collecting titanium, collecting quartz, collecting lithium, like things you've collected before. And so like there wasn't anything where I'm like, whoa, this is a sequel. Whoa, this is interesting. So, yeah, man, oh man, that kind of makes me sad. Of like, this really was just kind of a copy and paste so far of Subnautica 1.
And who knows? Maybe 3 years from now we have a game that's entirely different because they've fully developed it. But are people still playing it then? Is it still as valuable? I again, I don't know. I think it just feels like a little bit of a cash grab, and I can't think of examples specifically, but I feel like if this is something game developers have done in the past, or you have was it Redfall? They just that should have been early access from day one, but gosh, it was not. And so we see both sides of it, but I think there either way, where I will still say that the studio, the not the developer, the studio, yeah, the one that was threatening to pull the money from that, where they're bad
Publisher.
publisher, stop putting these demands on it. Just let the game come out when it comes out. And I don't know. I get that the business has to make their money, but just let it happen.
But yeah. Oh, I'm gonna fix my mic. But yeah, overall though, I like this game's gameplay. It's still a very fun loop. Like it is very much the same. But me and Liz, we are sucker for like survival crafter games. Liz, I gotta ask you, where does this one kind of rank and fall for you?
Oh dear, like what are some other ones?
What? Are you serious?
My
You play,
time
like,
at
all of them.
Porsche, my time at Sandrock,
No, the big one we've put a ton of hours in, Grounded.
Grounded, Stardew Valley, realistically to a certain degree. Maybe not
Yeah,
survival, but
yeah, those you could kind of argue. But what was another one we played recently? But I know the big one we love is Grounded. We played so much of that one.
Yeah, this one doesn't rank very high.
Oh, Valheim. That was the other one I was trying to think of.
oh yeah.
Because I always forget what Valheim is.
That's the one that was where you were Vikings. You were fighting a lot of trolls. Very Norse. I'll Google it image
No,
for you.
it's okay. This does not rank very high because I enjoyed playing it this week, but am I gonna want to keep playing it for a really? Oh, yep, I know what you're talking about. Am I gonna want to keep playing it? I think it's too similar to Subnautica 1. You know what I mean? I kind of like I enjoy playing it, but I don't really care if I do. There's so many games, like fun multiplayer games. We're playing Split Fiction, and then the game next week is a multiplayer game. So it's like, at what point am I like, oh, let's go back to Subnautica 2 when it just feels the same, So I wouldn't rank it very high.
Really? So,
Yeah.
do you think once this game is complete, you don't want to visit it again?
I don't know. I might. Like, I don't dislike it, but I think that there was kind of like a sense of wonder in the first one. We were like, this is really cool. And I haven't seen any newness that really gets me as excited. So I kind of lost the magic with it. I was hoping for like a new feel to it, but it really
Yeah.
seems the same to me.
I mean, one of the new things is you now have like perks, but there's literally like a handful of perks, and it's just like they don't really change that much.
So I'm so glad to hear Liz say that because I was like, oh man, is this gonna be one of those like, oh Keith, you just didn't play it enough, and like you really just needed to give it a chance because I knew this was like I was I was I was slow to get on it because I was like, I just can't get excited about this. I gotta play it. We had like 2 weeks. We've been talking about this game for 2 weeks. I started playing it yesterday. So,
Wow. Way to do your journalistic
Honesty.
integrity. I know.
hey, I'm being honest, but at the same token,
Just start playing Forza.
I got far enough in the game though that I can comfortably say it does. My opinion lined up exactly with you guys who put in 20 hours. Like, it didn't feel like I was playing a different game. I felt like I was playing Subnautica, and I was like, okay, cool. It's just like some new content, and so the story at that point would have needed to be like drastically different, or like really hook you to be like, okay, the gameplay is the same, but here's something super compelling. The story is there. Some it was just a fine story, maybe interesting if you're following it, but the gameplay is mostly the same. It's really Subnautica one with some perks which were cool, but again, I got the swim faster perk to swim along the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
Great.
I was trying to look it up, but my Xbox app is logged out. I thought we only played like 5 or 6 hours. You keep saying 20, and I'm like, I don't think that that's right.
I don't know. I mean, granted, I played maybe like an hour more. I played a little bit single player, but I'm pretty sure my time to play I think said like 15 hours. I might be exaggerating. It's very possible. I mean, we have spent a lot of time base building, so I don't know. It is very possible, but I gotta say, like, the thing I do like about Subnautica 2, well, like, this is very much of the first one. It's a survival crafting game, but it's also like unofficially also a horror game because it is. It's also surprising too. Of like this is an underwater game. I've obviously been very vocal. I hate water in games. Like it's not a fun mechanic to be swimming and running out of oxygen and stuff like that. But Subnautica, it is actually kind of fun to actually be underwater. The movement and exploration is very good in it. But I like since I played the first one, I already kind of know what to expect from fish that are dangerous. So it really wasn't too terrifying. Like me and Liz ran into the collector leviathan, and like it's just kind of like the music picks up. We were just kind of like, oh yeah, it's a big fish. Just kind of avoid it. But I remember the first one, like the Reaper leviathans that were around the ship. The first time you encounter one of those, like it is terrifying. But yeah, this time around, but like since we played Subnautica 1, like we kind of expected this, and it's just like, oh, yep, there's a fish trying to bite me.
Kind of forgot how terrifying it was in Subnautica 1. This one, that giant octopus was coming at me. Was it an octopus? You got a better look at it.
Yeah, it's called the collector leviathan.
Yeah, so
But I don't know if you remember these. Yeah, the Reaper leviathans. These were the ones you encountered a lot in the first one.
yeah, they were. I think they were way scarier in the first one, and then in this one, the Leviathan like grabs you and turns you around, but nothing really happens. And my method of dealing with like the big bad fish was just to swim in the direction that I needed to go and not look behind me.
Yeah.
Or like if I was in the tadpole.
Solid strat.
Yeah, and that's what I did, and nothing happened. Versus in the first one, I remember being killed by the big leviathans.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that it's a bit too tame now. And then also, can we get into the whole weapons thing?
Yeah.
Because for me, what doesn't make sense is you can make all this stuff. You can make a base, tons of technology. You can make tadpoles and all kinds of stuff, but you can't get a spear. Like just to defend yourself, something keeps biting your butt and you're just trying to do something over and over again. You can't just give it a little poke, you know?
I think you can use the sonic resonator to scare him. I think.
You
But-
can get like the flares to distract them.
Yeah.
But if it was real life, you would make something like a weapon.
Yeah, a
It's the same
stick.
with, are you
Like-
really just grabbing fish in the water? Like, no, if it was real life, you would have to get a spear or something.
Well, so that's, I mean, and not just mine. And like I said, I think I saw like a good chunk of complaints along this line online is, especially if you're gonna make everything so aggressive, and you were saying this too, Liz, is like, if I'm swimming around and everything is trying to attack me, give me a way to defend myself a little better rather than just distract them all the time. Like there was one area I was swimming around trying to figure out what I was supposed to find there, and just every time there was just these like two like I don't know, barracuda kind of fishes, and they would not leave me alone. And it was just pissing me off. Like it's like I'm not, it's not scary, it's not whatever, it's just a nuisance. And I
Yeah.
don't like when things are just a nuisance. There's one fish that it looked like a little rock or something. And so I'm like swam up close to it. And I was like, what is this? I got all close. And it turns out it's just
rammed
like a
you?
little, yeah, it's like a little
Yeah.
squid that buries itself. That thing gave me a good jump because I was not expecting it to just lunge out, just full teeth in my face. So that was kind of cool. I will give it that one. But overall, yeah, I was just kind of underwhelmed with the
Yeah.
wildlife.
I mean, it's a bit of a mixed bag for me. So in the first one, I felt like there literally is a handful of fish that will kill you, that like really kind of hunt you down and would kill you. Like there were certain leviathans.
And I felt like you had to like antagonize them too, even like
A little
for the
bit.
most
Like,
part, you would
they
have
hunt.
to go up and do something.
Yeah, they were very close to an area, but in this one, in Subnautica 2, like they were more deadly in the first one. In Subnautica 2, to me, I feel like there's more things that want to bite you, but they don't do a lot of damage. I felt like there's just a lot of things, jellyfish, things that are shooting gas, fish that are shooting out as darts. Like I felt like there's a bunch of things poking me, but not a lot was doing a lot of damage. Like I don't think I ever died from a fish, like thinking about it. But I agree, it is absolutely a nuisance where it's just something's constantly hurting me, something's constantly biting my butt. Granted, it wasn't a lot, but it's just like doing a lot of damage. But it's still just like, I'm just avoiding you. I'm trying to avoid you. Like, leave me alone. I'm not doing anything to you. So I understand both sides, but the whole controversy, as Keith was saying on the Discord, is, you know, people were complaining to the developers, like, you know, give us a gun, give us something to defend ourselves. And of course, the developer said, you know, this isn't Rust. If you want to kill things, go play a different game. Needless to say, you'd never say that to your community. Never tell your community to go play a different game. That doesn't go for well. So needless to say, the internet ran with that, and they quickly apologized, saying sorry about that. But our core
First time
principle,
making a game. Sorry.
yeah, but they still did say of like it's not our core principle that this isn't a shooting game.
And that's fair. In a
is.
better stated, I can totally understand. Like, hey, we're not trying to make this about big guns, but there's got to be a balance. And maybe
Yeah.
it does end up being that they just tailor it back, or really like at the end of it, like the early access that we were going back to, maybe the final gameplay, if they ever really truly get to it, has a lot more in-depth process. Like maybe you have like electric towers you can put up or something. Like, who knows? But right now they just needed to put out a game to get a game, so they gave us Subnautica 1 and called it Subnautica 2.
I also think that it's common sense that if you have somebody that intelligent that can make all this stuff, they would be able to create something. So I actually think
Yeah.
it was maybe the developers were like, oh yeah, I didn't think of that or something, because
A gun.
they were so like hoity-toity about it. And it's like, well, do you know what? I actually forgot. I read somewhere that there was a knife in the first one.
There was. And you remember you upgraded to a thermal knife,
And
and
it
you could
cooks.
stab a shift and it would cook a fish right away. Like that was super helpful survival tool. Because yeah, you'd be in the deep ocean and just stab a fish and cook it right away and you could eat it. Well, in this one, you don't have a knife, you have an axe. But you can't do anything with the axe. You can chop some coral and that's it.
It doesn't even look sharp, to be honest.
No, it doesn't. It looks like
But
a
you
club.
also like when you get the fish and you make it a meal, you cook it, you're still killing that fish. Like, do they not
Yeah.
realize that you still kill fish in the game? Like, why does it matter how you kill them?
There is that, but I guess there is an interesting story point that Andrew mentioned that I wasn't personally considering. If you're in theory trying to go on some like survivor or not survivor, like, you know, holiday cruise type of thing, space holiday cruise, you're not exactly probably a real survivor list type of person to begin with. So you're not actually a smart survivor per se. You have this fabricator machine that says, hey, go just throw these things in here and I'm going to spit out these tools. I'm going to do all the work. The AI is doing it now. I do agree that AI should still be able to create something sharp or something like a harpoon that can shoot. But it's like your character in theory is just a person who is, you know, you're Gilligan's Island here. Like you went out on a 3-hour tour.
Well, I don't want to spoil the story, but that actually isn't what your character was trying to do. When you find out about what is happening in the universe,
There's a
it
cult going on,
100% makes more sense that you should be able to craft a gun.
Fair. I was gonna say there is cult stuff going on. I thought, and then
There's more stuff kind of going on. And
I
it's
know
just
it,
like, why
at least a
can't I
couple of
defend
comments I
myself?
saw were like deep philosophical. Like, what if you're the last person in the entire universe? You need to consider that. I was like, that's kind of dark. Like, I'll just planet everywhere.
Yeah.
I also feel like this kind of goes against the exploration aspect of the game. But I really wish that there was like a radar so you could see things that you haven't interacted with yet for multiplayer. Because there were so many times that Andrew had already been through a wreck, and I was like, oh, look at this cool place. And luckily, Andrew had his Xbox in the same room with me, and he would just look at my screen and be like, oh, I already went there. But I feel like that would have been really helpful.
There's some things you probably didn't notice. So the big component in Subnautica 1, and once again it's carried over in Subnautica 2, you don't know how to build things. You obviously are searching through wreckage, and let's say you're trying to build, the submersible, the tadpole. You have to find pieces of it, use your scanner, and scan it. You have to scan multiple fragments. When you scan multiple fragments, congratulations, you now know how to build that device. You probably didn't notice on your scanner, it actually showed a bar how many more fragments you needed to scan. So there's like little UI things that kind of give you hints as about things.
Well,
Same
no,
with if
I
you have your
meant,
scanner
like,
out.
Because the ocean's so big and you go over the same area so many times, it would be nice if it just kind of like highlighted. Do you know how some
Yeah.
games like they have that highlightation box? That's not a word. Highlightation box.
No, I like it though.
The
We're
box
using it.
is highlighted.
Or it's hilation. I understand what you're saying because I don't even think this game has an actual map, which the first one didn't either. Which I guess makes sense because it's supposed to be on an unexplored planet.
But you
so
should be
you're
able
not-
to chart it to
Yeah.
some degree.
You can't
It-
ping in this game. So
Well,
I
I mean,
guess I
for
could set a
multiplayer, that's
ping
good.
saying come here.
But there's also, I mean, at least to some degree, I don't know how functional it is, but on your scanner tool, there's at least like a little movement radar
Yeah.
that kind of shows you what's around. But I don't know if it like takes
It shows you
things
things
off.
you haven't scanned.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's like, yeah. So if there's multiple of the same thing, it might show a bunch of them. But once you scan it once, does it, I assume, disappear all of them? Because then you can't scan the other ones.
Yeah, I think so. I didn't quite.
I would have
test
to.
it.
I would have to assume. But yeah, like
Yeah.
there's that. But it's not a map. It's nothing overall helpful, I guess.
But I gotta say, the thing I do love about the first Subnautica in this one, and I do feel like this is what really sets it apart for a survival crafter game, and to me, it's the exploration. The exploration in this game is just super fun to do. I love to just searching through these caves. It gets very claustrophobic. It's like gorgeous. It's super fun to like look at the environments, but to go and find the wreckage, and you're like, oh, this is exciting. This is a big chunk of the ship, and you're just searching through the nooks of the ship, of the corridors that are all underwater. To me, I love the exploration in the game. This game also too feels very rewarding for exploration because you can find, like I said, you're scanning things to get to learn how to make them. And yes, the AI every once appears says, hey, there's a black box here. You should check this area out. And obviously there's going to be a bunch of a specific fragment there. And, oh, you can learn how to make the oxygen tank there. But if you just go out on your own, like it's not, but like those areas aren't behind a wall. So if you know right away where it is, you can go there and scan stuff and start basically doing your game right away. So to me, I love that this game, you could go fast if you're kind of good at exploring and finding and having a good eye. Or, if you're taking too long, the computer will kind of guide you a little bit. I remember the first one was really heavy on, you need to good luck. Like you have to explore. Because I remember that's what you complained about, Keith. In the first one where you're like, I couldn't get the ship. Like I could not find enough fragments. I couldn't build the submersible. And like, it was frustrating for you because I do remember the things always were scattered everywhere. This one's much more clustered as to where things are. So it felt a little easier to navigate and progress in this game. But yeah, in the first one, it was very much like, can I go to this area? No, I think I need to have a craft to go to this area. But this one felt more guided.
Yeah, I remember when I was listening to, I just listened to a little bit of our podcast from the first one, and you had.
Oh, what'd you think of it?
It was great.
Podcast sucked.
You had complained about the location of specific modules, and when we were playing, you didn't complain about that. But I also want to point out, because you were talking about like the claustrophobic feeling that you get in like the tight spaces. I did not like that.
Oh, really?
There's something about like a cave and like I'm not gonna say it.
What were you gonna say?
Tight holes. Like,
Nice.
because you have the things attached to the tadpole and stuff, and like there's something about just narrow spaces, especially
And tight
like,
holes.
Yeah.
especially where you're underwater. Absolutely not. Like I
Oh,
would
those
never,
wet tight holes, yeah, are pretty rough.
like the people that do it, like the
What,
cave
tight holes?
diving in real life.
Oh. I'm just going to keep going
It's
now.
so PG. I could never do it.
I don't get people who do it.
No.
mean,
Okay.
Literally 5 people just died recently because of it.
Well, that one was actually from what I read about that one. That was just really really bad planning. Like there was like actual like professional deep sea divers that are like I
Is there
won't
ever
do
such
that
good thing as good planning when you're going in tight holes?
when you're doing any deep sea dive. The one you're thinking of, it was deep sea, and it's like once you get past, I think it's like 100 meters, like your body like is impacted
Yeah.
by it, and if you're not trained for it, it's deadly. So that, but again, why I don't understand it. And it's why I've always said, space in the middle of the ocean or underwater are two absolutely irrational fears that I have, but are very like it gives me like chills down the back of my spine thinking about being like in the middle of the ocean or like underwater. I'll never
would-
be there because I just don't have to get on a boat. It's very easy to avoid. I don't have to get on a spaceship to go to space, but thinking about just being like free floating in space is terrifying to me for
What
no
would you
reason.
rather? Would you rather deep sea or space?
Probably deep sea because I'm still on Earth.
Ooh. What about you, Liz?
Neither. Absolutely.
You have to
not.
pick one.
I guess the water.
Like space is like infinite,
But you're
so
not
like
gonna
that's
get
scary.
eaten in space though. Like I mean, there's sharks and stuff.
There's no tight holes in space.
No.
So I'd rather do space.
No, but I just but no, like the when you're talking about like these narrow caves that like in the people who do the guy who died because he like dove into that cave that he was stuck upside down for like 10 hours until he just died like that.
Yeah.
Again, like that gives me like weird like uncomfortable feelings, and I would never be there because someone would say that and I'd be like that sounds terrible, I'm not
Yeah.
going to do that. And so I would just never be in that situation to begin with, but it terrifies me to think about being there. So playing games like this, it's a fun way to kind of live that fear. I will give it that. And it was something I felt a little bit probably because I didn't get as far. I think because I do remember in the first one, as you start to really get into those dark, murky waters, it gets pretty intimidating. But like I was pretty much at a point where I could, oh, Andrew just cannot get over this tight holes thing.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
I can just see. Well, I can hear it too. You're chuckling.
Oh yeah,
But,
I could chuckle, but I didn't say it. I'm maturing here, okay?
You're not. We've been doing this for 7 years. You're
Why
not
couldn't I
maturing.
think of a different phrase?
But you tried
might.
to. But the fact of the matter is, you stopped yourself and you gave him the avenue, so he took it. But yeah, like
to tight holes.
and as far as where I am right here, I'm kind of always at a point where I'm an air bladder away of just like shooting myself to the surface. So like I haven't had those like kind of scary moments myself, but I don't think I'd see myself playing it far enough to get there. I was kind of just like cool. I know I'll go further, especially knowing that the experience doesn't change. Like I was expecting you guys to be like, oh, Keith, you missed this thing, you missed that thing.
There's lasers.
Yeah, I was just like, no, I got the perks. So I think I got the new thing.
Yeah, that was. No, the tadpole looks different. It drives the same as the first one, but
Oh.
it looks different. And
Well,
it
that's
gets
cool.
attachments. It gets wing attachments.
And they took your knife though. I mean, they
Oh,
didn't
can it
took
fly?
more away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they gave you an axe. It was just replaced.
It's called shrinkflation.
Oh, I don't have
It's
an
happening
axe
to our
yet.
video games now.
The Sonic Resonator, that was a new device. Because if you remember, the first one, to mine the big nodes, you needed the big mech suit and attach the drill arm. Well, now the big mech suit's gone, so that's another thing they took away.
Yep.
But it could come back. Like I said, you could tell already in the trailer of things that they plan on having. So it could come back. But that is one thing that's disappointed me. It's like, I want that submarine. The submarine was the funnest thing in the first one. Once you get that submarine, it's just your mobile base, and it's like, this is cool. But it's not in this one yet, which it's sad. Makes me that kind of irritating.
Is that at least on the roadmap? Because that feels like even if
It was in the trailer.
Oh, well, that's fair then. Because I was gonna say, even if this wasn't in, well, especially if it wasn't in early access, but if even if they weren't saying this was going to come out, sometime after Grand Theft Auto 7, or 6.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say 7.
No,
So
we'll say
20
7.
years later.
We'll say 7 for that exact purpose. Say it's going to be early access till then, and never give you anything or that submarine. But like, I don't know. It's just it just like I said, it just feels like they really played with that contract. And truthfully, they didn't give us a game that they wanted to envision. They just gave us Subnautica 1 and just a stripped down version of it in some aspects.
Yeah, I want to argue with you, but it's like, yeah, you're not wrong. I really can't argue with it.
Do you have crickets, Keith?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's my open window behind me, so the crickets are just there.
We have crickets here too.
Andrew loves it for recording though, because it sounds so good on the podcast.
I love it. Well, so we have cicadas too, but I haven't been hearing much lately. I thought I heard cicadas the other day, but
Nah, they're not that active this year.
well, no. That's why I said I thought, but I was wrong. I heard it was a weird bug though. But yeah, I miss having my cicadas and my crickets.
I mean, I think people listen to like crickets to go to sleep, so it's probably not good to put it on the podcast. People falling asleep listening
Hey,
to the shit.
people said we were their sleeping podcast before.
Hey, good.
We have
a
a
nice soothing voice like that.
yes, it's very sultry.
Also, you can probably hear Daisy snoring. Did you just hear that loud one? Oh, she is so asleep. Yeah, can. Ah, there's the princess.
But speaking of bugs, though, as I said, this game is in preview. I gotta say, there wasn't too many. We had a base building one where it wouldn't let Liz deconstruct some things because it kept saying there was something attached, even though there wasn't. But apparently it's a known bug because I saw other people complain about it online. Besides that, I'm very glad to say that I did not run into anything game breaking. The game did have some graphical pop-ins and stuff like that, but it was all pretty minor. I think the game crashed on us once or twice.
It did.
Yeah.
That was probably a multiplayer thing then, because I don't think I had any crashing. Now again, I didn't put a ton of hours, but I didn't run into any bugs, at least that I can think of.
Yeah.
I think
It
it was pretty
saved well.
pretty steady.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It saved very well. That's the other thing. Oh, then the multiplayer too worked very well. Also, surprisingly, like I thought for sure, because that's anytime there's a game preview, that's always the thing that sucks is multiplayer. Like they're kind of like, yeah, it's there, but it's not really there. No, I had no issues multiplayer. Literally, Blizz started a game. I went to a profile, jumped right in, loaded me right there. Even too, like when we restarted our game, my inventory was exactly the same. Characters in the same spot. It worked very well. So, good job, Unknown Worlds. At least making the multiplayer very stable. But yeah, graphically though, it still once again looks very much like Subnautica, which is a good thing. This game is beautiful. I love the different biomes. The fish designs are very cool. Very alien, but also very fish. Like you can kind of look at it and be like, oh yeah, it's probably like a manta ray kind of thing. And then it starts to bite you and you're like, okay, it's not quite a manta ray. But yeah, I love the biomes of this game. It feels very alien, but also not. It's very bright, very colorful. Yeah, I love too that I didn't feel like I'm constantly pulling out a flashlight. I can't see anything. But no, everything felt very bright and vibrant. I love the game's graphics.
I think it was kind of samey with the second one though. Didn't the first one have more like diverse biomes?
Well, it was a completed game.
I know, but when in all fairness though, you're putting out a game preview and you don't have anything up your sleeve when it comes to gameplay. I'm just saying it might have been nice to have a cool new biome.
You're not completely wrong.
That's just my opinion. I'm just saying it's something a little special in one of the areas. But
That's where I think I agree the most. Like overall, I can say like, yeah, game preview, you can be a little bit lacking, sure, but there should be something that really separates it from the first one. And if there's not anything super special, now again, I'm not speaking from experience, but from what it sounds like Liz is saying, like if there's not, that's kind of a bummer for where it's at right now. Something should feel extra cool, at least to separate it from the first game.
I don't fully disagree with you guys, but it's been so long since I played the first one that to me, it still just feels very good.
Which that episode, by the way, came out September 29th, 2021.
Dang.
Woof.
That's how old
They're
it
just
is.
they're just babies in the podcast world there.
Yeah.
I mean, we still are.
Oh well, I mean, I'm not talking about our size, yeah, but the like I liked the graphics overall in this one too. I you know, it's funny to talk about water because that's the thing we do because this game is all underwater, but I really like the way they do it. Again, personally, I don't spend a lot of time underwater, including pools, but in pools, it is more likely, and you know what it's like to be underwater. And I think they do a really good job because I know there's other games we've talked about this where like the surfacing and how the sunlight refracts and things like that. I think Subnautica does a really good job at it, which is good because that's important because it's so much of the game. If they didn't do that well, oh my gosh, this game would look terrible. But it doesn't. It does look so cool, and it's like stressful at the same time because I think if I remember in the first one, I complained about this, and I don't. Maybe I'm misremembering, but if you ran out of oxygen, it was like insta death in the first one.
No,
This
it still give you a couple grace period of you blacking out and dying.
does it. I thought it,
Yeah,
but
it's the same.
this one I thought it was more based on your health. And that maybe I'm still wrong on that because I didn't
No,
die
I think
from oxygen.
it still blacks out. You still get a few seconds grace blacking out.
Okay, fair enough then. Fair enough then. But either way, yeah, there's like those stressful moments where you're resurfacing just at that last second, just like please, please. And
Pretty
so,
cool.
so yeah, I like that experience, and I just overall do like the graphics too things. I think, sometimes because everything's is an enemy but not an enemy in underwater, like even in our world, it's just such a weird, diverse biome of animals. To not feel like I'm seeing the same three fish all the time is a really good thing. So they do a really good job with that.
I feel like Keith is the water expert. Whenever there's a game with water, he always knows.
I got hyper focused on it like early on, and now like every game, like I gotta see what the
What we
water's
did
like.
with like Sea of Thieves, it was like Sea
Yeah.
of Thieves that really was like, this is peak water.
Yeah, just peak water.
I mean, it is true. Like after seeing
Still one of the best games in terms of live water. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, because now when you see something, you're like, oh my god, that water's so flat. It's just
something
blue.
I don't notice. Like I didn't think, oh, what is the quality of water? I did say like, I liked how the light, went through the windows in my base, which was underwater. You could see like the kind of like the sparkle effect on the floor. I noticed that. But
Oh, that was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Besides that, I didn't notice the water at all. Except for
Even
when
though
I
it's
was
all
showing
around.
up.
And there's like weird spots of like underwater caves where you could surface underwater and you'd have like these little pockets of
Yeah.
like reprieve, but they look so cool because I don't know. Well, I would never, ever, ever in a million years put myself in that situation. That's what I imagine it looks like, and it looks really cool. And I guess I can see why people might want to do that, but no, not for me.
Wait, so when you die, do you have all your stuff or you gotta go get it?
I don't know what happens when I die,
You
Liz.
lose some
I
of
only
it.
have one life to live.
You you lose some of it, and yeah, you drop like a black box that you can go retrieve and pick up the stuff that you did lose.
And you just start at the life pod.
Yeah.
I actually didn't die.
Well, you start wherever you put your bed and put your reprint.
I swear though that it starts to take your storage boxes if you die too many times, because there was one time I forgot to pause it and I walked away and I died after I had just respawned, and there was a storage box missing. So maybe that was a bug, but there was just a storage box I had picked up and left in my base that was just missing. And
you
I
have
think you just walked away when your character was in the water.
That's a classic Keith move. No, he
No,
probably
no,
wasn't
no,
water.
no,
He probably
I-
just starved to death.
no, I had died, and like when I respawned, I walked away to go grab something or do something. So I was in my base and I died. Base just
Of
standing there.
starvation, probably.
Yeah, I didn't pause it, so I died of starvation or something. But yeah, I think I lost more than I had.
Classic Keith
Well,
move.
then it also, so I died of like thirst or starvation. I forget which one. And then when I came back, I was still at 0 and my health was going down.
Oh,
And it's-
really?
Yeah. And it's like, wouldn't you start me off with like a sliver or something? Because obviously I don't have any food.
Huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I thought it did. I thought it gave you full thing.
It didn't for me, I tell you.
Because I thought about that. I'm like, maybe I should just kill myself and just, get
No,
all my
that's what I did
stuff
because I
back.
was like, I was almost at zero. I'm like, do you know what? I'm just gonna let my character die.
Kill
and
myself
let
in the
it
game, sorry.
over."
I know
then-
it's funny because one of my kids walked over to say goodnight, and so that's why I paused myself for a second, and
And I
that was
just
the
come
first-
on saying I should kill myself.
Well, but then I just started thinking about Disco Elysium and
Yeah. Yeah. That was classic.
so anyways, sorry Liz, I cut you off. That was
Very rude.
it was.
This is why
I didn't mean to
this is
be-
why she hasn't been here, Keith.
I assumed it was.
She's
I
like,
mean,
"Keith's
Liz and
very
I
rude."
always battled, but
No,
I actually
I'm
think
just
tonight's
lazy,
been
actually.
a good Liz and I teaming up against Andrew.
Yeah, we're agreeing tonight.
Well, I'm also not really disagreeing with you guys either.
But you're begrudgingly
too
agreeing with
positive.
us.
Take it down a
What
couple
else are you
notches.
happy over there?
You know, it
a
is
little
also
more
nice too, Liz, having you here because I think it's keeping Andrew in check. Because by this point in the episode, Andrew would have just been coming up with the most wild statements. Like
You guys are over.
he would just be like, you know what though? Like I don't know why I don't have a nuclear bomb, and that's really my biggest issue.
Oh, you and Aaron, when you guys are together, are just.
And
you
where's
are-
Michael Bay? I need more
I'm
explosions.
like, I just say, yeah, I didn't care for this one song. You guys are like, oh my god, Andrew hated all of the soundtrack, and it's like, what are you guys talking about? I
did.
just had an issue with one thing. Like, you guys over exaggerate.
The worst takes. He's saying when you're here, Liz. It's nice. This is
But then, you know what? None of our listeners are disagreeing. No one's going, man, Andrew is the worst takes. No. If anything, they say I have the best
but
takes.
mean,
they
you might
do
find
say
out
they're
after
glad to
this
have
episode.
Liz back every time. I'm just saying there's a correlation.
But anyway, audio. The audio is very good. The music is very good. The voice acting in this game, like I said, the story is actually, at least from what I've seen, all audio logs, and the voice acting is pretty good in it. I have
Yeah.
no issues.
I thought the music was actually pretty cool at points. Like I was kind of like jamming out to some of the music that was happening.
There was music playing?
I was gonna say, here's Liz's classic line. Wait, there's
There,
music.
I mean, no,
there
I
was
genuinely do. I
There
remember,
was music, Liz.
yeah,
like,
it's
you know,
kind of like
enemies coming.
synthy.
No, there was always music kind of playing in the background.
Yeah, and it would change in like different areas you would go into and things like
Yep.
that.
I
But
feel
that-
like you're making it up.
I definitely am. But it's but the music is pretty cool. My only complaint about the voice acting in any capacity is, as I was saying, was at times it just felt like I had four voices talking at the same time, and I knew which one I wanted to listen to even, but it's just distracting and it's a lot. And
It's just like in your head, like all the time.
well, you know, we've been doing this enough. I can reference games. It's if I could remember the names of games. The one that we've played two of now, and she had the voices in her head.
Oh, Hellblade.
Thank you, Liz. I knew one of you would get to it. I couldn't
Oh,
think of it.
I wasn't really listening to you. I thought you were talking yourself up, and I was like, oh.
Also fair,
You
but
said
yeah,
you
no.
Stop listening. Wow. Okay.
But yeah, like that game, I was intentionally trying to listen to four voices or not listen to. This is just a lot going on. So that could be something that's easily cleaned up, though. But then it's also weird because I don't like when things get super clippy because then they don't want it to talk over each other. So it's about a timing of gameplay. Like, don't put four things in the same area that are all going to talk at me at the same time is probably the way you do that. Right?
Or like he would find something and I would find something at the same time, and it was just jargon. Mine was
I-
louder, obviously, but I could still hear his.
Yeah, I found that odd with the multiplayer. Sometimes I'd pick up an audio log and it actually would play for both of us. Then other times I'd pick it up and it would only play on my screen. So I don't know. It was very inconsistent. So then Liz would find an audio log that would do that, but then I'd get the audio log that did both for us, and then it would start playing both, and it's like, oh, this is kind of weird. But I didn't realize too. I don't think you can play back audio. I think that's one of the features on the roadmap that they know they're coming out with. So if you're not listening to the audio logs, I think you actually
Really?
might be
Like,
missing
even-
the story.
Even in like the PDF, right? There's not like a transcript of it. Because everything you scan goes into there. Because they, like you mentioned, like when you scan things, there is a UI pop-up actually, like an independent one, not just on the scanner, that says 1 of 3, like when you're scanning modules and stuff. And it tells you too, because it's like you can go into your little PDF or Wikipedia or
The
whatever.
roadmap says PDA data bank for
PDA,
upcoming
there
quality
we
of
go.
life. So yeah, you have your catalog of blueprints, but yeah, I think you can't access PDAs that you already listened to.
Interesting.
You can access if you ever do the robot, like if you go to the AI computers.
Yeah, you
Like,
can listen
you
to
can
some
replay
of them.
those. Yeah,
Some of them, but not all of them. But interesting.
man. But man, look at this roadmap again though. It stinks. Like the next two patches are just improvements, like quality of life. It's not until the next major expansion, which is just says future, is when they're expanding the world and the stories and new toys and stuff like that.
And
But
that could be
gosh,
a
yeah, that
year
could be a
out.
while.
And that's where I go back to, and I don't want to hang out too much, but it's like they made their money marker, sure, but that's just on the fandom. I don't think they did it on the quality of the game, and I think just where I sit, that's kind of, I don't like that. I think that, and I think that's, and I think, and mostly I complain because, yeah, they're screwing the big company, but I don't care about the dollars. I care about, I think it's a disservice to the players.
You heard it
Because
here, people. Keith is pro big evil corporations.
no, I'm pro the players, and I think it's a disservice to us to say, hey, we want to make our money, so we're gonna put out a really, 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 really skeleton version of this game that we know you're gonna buy because you loved the first one so much. It's
I mean,
taking
the price is
advantage.
good. I think it's like $20.
Fair, and like I said, and that's a fair point, but. The amount of people who are going to pay $20 now and then maybe never play it again when it gets out of game preview, but they've got their money now.
It's
That's kind of
$30.
that's kind of, and $30 is actually it's still not a ton. I will say, I'm not going to be like, oh, it's a ton of money now, but that's starting to push into a range where I feel early access for $30 needs to have a lot more than what we've got here.
I mean, 15 hours is what its average right now it says.
To me, it is not about the hours when you're slapping an early access tag on it. It is the fact that this is Subnautica 1 with a 2 at the end of it. This is Overwatch 2, except you're paying $30 for it. Overwatch 2 was free, but it
Which
was
then they
Overwatch
removed the two, and now it's just back to Overwatch.
which also, that's a whole different thing. Subnautica 2 in its current state is Overwatch 2 that you have to pay $30 for if you're not on Game Pass. And I think that's kind of that's crappy to the players, but they got their money. So I don't know, like, happy for them, but I think I think we got screwed in the process.
See, if I had Subnautica 1 and I did the game preview for free on Game Pass, I would not think it was worth it to purchase when it fully came out. Because it's the same. This makes
Yeah.
me not want to buy it. Because why not just play Subnautica 1 again? I don't really remember it because it was like 5 years ago. So for me, it doesn't really entice me to put money into it.
I will say, I think I unfortunately don't do too much on Steam, but I think when a game is on early access on Steam, they have, from what I remember hearing, is a bigger grace period to refund the game. So I don't know. That's the other thing too, of like, you could play those 15 hours and go, yeah, I'm going to refund this now.
When you get the full game ultimately too, when it comes out, if I understand it with early access too, like you would get the full game when it comes out.
Oh yeah. That's
So it's
usually
not
the trade-off is this is a discounted price.
Yeah,
The full game will
so-
probably be $50.
So there is something to be said for that. But yeah, and I think it also too is a distinction of a new IP versus a not new IP. This would be like Forza Horizon being like, oh, we're going to give you an early access of Forza Horizon 7 in a year and a half, but really it's just Forza Horizon 6 in a new location, which we can talk. That's kind of all the Horizon.
Funny though.
I understand, but it doesn't say game preview, and I think that is a solid semantic difference. But we don't have to go into that. That's a big can of worms.
That's literally what I was saying last episode. You guys were roasting me, and I loved you just said it, Keith.
But it's not, because it's 4 years later, and they're not calling it early access, and it is genuinely different in enough aspects. This is not. Feels so much of the same in a different environment with a slightly different story. And you're saying, oh, in 3 years it's gonna have this stuff. Maybe it does. It does. But 3 years from now is so long when we've already waited 7 years. And I just get to be the beta tester for $30 if I'm not on Game Pass right now. I don't know.
Yeah, but anyway, let's get to our thoughts here, because achievements. This is game preview, so no achievements right now. So that kind of stuff.
Disservice to the player.
Give me that gamer score. But let's get into our final thoughts on Subnautica 2 game preview. Probably should have put that in the title as well, but oh well. For me, Subnautica 2, as I said at the beginning of this episode, it's if you like Subnautica 1, you will absolutely love this. If you didn't like Subnautica 1, you will not like this. This is very much a game for the people who like the game. If you have never dove into Subnautica, overall, yeah, try this. If you obviously have Game Pass, try it. Try it for a little bit, and if you're like, oh, this is really fun, just stop and play Subnautica 1. Or if you want a more tight experience, get a Subnautica Below Zero. We also covered that, so if you want to check out a review on that one as well. But yeah, Below Zero felt more like an expansion. It was kind of a smaller game. But if you're liking this and you haven't played the first Subnautica, just stop and play Subnautica 1. But still, what is here, I had a lot of fun. I really liked playing with Liz. I thought the multiplayer worked well. The bugs really weren't that bad. But it did feel very samey. But the other thing I'll ask you guys to do as well, will you pick this up when it's completed? For me, I will. I absolutely love the first one. I like the story, and so far I like what the story is doing with this one. I will pick it up. But the question is, would I pay for it? If it's not on Game Pass, would I pay for it? I don't know. Maybe not.
I won't.
I probably won't, actually, now I think about it. If it's on Game Pass, I definitely will play it. It depends. Well, I guess it depends. It depends what they add. If they really do actually add things and it is really cool and much different, absolutely. I could see myself picking it up and paying for it. Because I paid for the first Subnautica. You wouldn't play with me, Liz?
No, I'm saying I would play this game with you if you wanted me to, because it is fun. But I absolutely would not spend money on it.
But overall, though, for what's here, I'd give this an 80. I'd still give this an 80. It is very much the first, but it's been a while since I played the first, and I think this is still very good.
So, I mean, in some ways, gonna just say a lot of the same things that Andrew is saying in the fact that, like, if you liked the first one, there's anything I say, you're not gonna be like, man, Keith is right. This isn't worth playing. If you didn't like it, you're going to agree with me. Whatever, it's just your opinion's not going to change on this because it really is so much of the same game. There's some differences. There's some slight things. But I keep going back to that so long of a game preview that it just, especially when they're already getting so much money from game creators, like the way game development cycles work, I just don't have a lot of faith that this ends up being anything more than, maybe this is kind of a dated reference, but like, watching a movie about a kid running for class president. He's like, oh, everyone's going to have free pizza every day and ice cream, and we're going to give you the best things. But like, you can promise all these things, but now you've got my money and none of those things are going to be happening. You can go with real modern day politics. Look at everything they promise you. I was promised cheaper groceries. But anyways, I feel like slapping a game preview on just gives them the ability to just be like, whoops, sorry, it doesn't work very well. Thanks for the money. And I don't like this state of the gaming industry. It's not a big part of it. I don't think a ton of games are doing this, but I don't like it. And I just think it's a little bit lame. I would truthfully rather be given a game that you tell me is fully done and just have it be crap and you take a year to actually fix it. It's a weird splitting hairs thing, but I would rather that personally be the case than giving me an early access for 3 years. I think that's absurd. But that said, it's really not how my issues with Subnautica 2. My issues with Subnautica 2 is that I just didn't like Subnautica 1. And I don't like this genre of games. I'm not very good at them. I think it does a pretty good job of actually making things feel pretty quick moving. I think it gives them to you pretty quickly and you don't have to struggle too hard. So that's nice. We didn't even talk about this, which I think is actually huge. This is one thing I will absolutely immediately give points to in Subnautica. The auto sort function of your inventory is just a chef's kiss of inventory management. How many games do we complain about that they don't do that, or they don't give you a way to actually sort it well? This automatically,
by default, you should always just have auto sort.
Everything is automatically placed where it needs to be. It is beautiful, and I love that. So great job. but that's about the highest praise I can give Subnautica to. Otherwise, I just didn't really care for it. It is good, but I can't give it more than a 73, and I don't know what I gave the first one.
I'm sure
For the
Liz knows.
first one, you said that it deserves an 80, but for enjoyment, you gave it a 70. And
73 feels like a good average of an actual score.
Your scoring was so wild back then. You were just like, it's somewhere between 20 and 50. I don't know.
So here's the thing: I'm gonna give you 5 scores if I rank this from every demographic I can think of.
see, I was originally like, when we were talking, I was like, this is beginning to feel like a 70. But then right before Keith said that, I'm like, but I can't give it a 70. I'm going to give it a 73. And then you said 73. So I think that's funny. But one thing, not to be negative again, but hearing you talk
So you
about
are
the
73.
inventory. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
a 73. But hearing you talk about the inventory and stuff, I got to be negative and say I wish there was stacking. You know what I mean? You get so
That
much
is a good point.
titanium, especially with base building. You need so much. At least give me stacks of 5. It doesn't have to be crazy. But we had so many floor lockers.
Yeah.
It was a little outrageous. So,
But once again, another quality of life that was good.
You can name
You
them
could
and stuff.
pull stuff from the lockers.
That
It
is
doesn't
nice
need to be on
too.
your person. Yep.
That one's a pretty hit or miss. Not all, or like 50-50. I feel like games allow you to do that.
Well,
but
survival crafter games, that needs to be a mandatory thing.
Yeah,
If
but
you have
I agree. I think it's a huge quality of life thing, but most do, I think, or on average, about most do. Sorry, Liz, go ahead. We were rude.
oh, no, I was done. Metacritic, it doesn't have anything because it's in preview. There's one critic review with an 86. Subnautica, the first one, I looked at the score just because I was curious. Specifically for Xbox, it's 81 and 82. And for Subnautica 1, our podcast episode, our fourth and silent co-host gave it a 0.
Of course.
I don't
love
think
that.
he's gonna give it higher this time.
love
There's
that
no
for him.
user reviews, but
Is he still reviewing things?
Oh, I'm sure.
oh yeah, I think so.
Because I know the last time I looked, he still was, and I love it. I love this guy.
Yeah, I
That's
wish
like-
that there were user reviews, but there's none.
I'm glad you brought it back, Liz, because it's been a while since we've talked about it, because we do not do Metacritic without.
Yeah. I don't know why none of us picked it up.
I don't
Because it
either.
requires work. More extra
You
work.
gotta translate the French; it becomes a thing.
But yeah, we just put it under the glaze of journalistic integrity that we refuse to have. But really, it's just laziness. It's the fact of the matter. We don't want to do the work.
I missed having you, Liz.
I feel like we should see how Daisy likes us playing games. Like if she gets into it, give her. She's right next to me. She watches.
I'm sure
quite
she'd have a
bit.
lot of great input for the podcast.
I think she agrees with me and you, Keith. I think she agrees that it's a 73.
Oh, I can see those ears. Yeah, those ears perked up when you said 73.
Yep.
All right, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us. Please make sure you go to GamePassGrabBag.com. Check out our website. You can find our past reviews on scores. I don't think Subnautica's on there. I don't think Donnie's logged too old of episodes. But at least most of the recent episodes are all up there. But yeah, if you need game suggestions, please, top right corner, you'll find the link to all of our things. Come join our Discord, email us, message us on Spotify, whatever. We always love hearing from you guys. But yeah, I've been your hardcore gamer host, Andrew. You can find me on Xbox Live at Firebird01952. And until next week, love you all. I'll see you again.
I'm gonna shout out Donnie. Thanks, Donnie. Great work on the website. You mentioned him, so I'm gonna say thanks. And bye.